Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Forrest Walker here, and welcome back to another live stream today. I know I've done like five, this is like the fifth one I've done today. I know I probably should stop, but um, I did want to talk about a few things that have just popped in my head actually, right now, as a matter of fact. Um, so I just want to talk about a few things because there's some things that I wanted to talk about that revolved around my channel. That even to this day kind of surprises me in regard to it. Um, so to put it simply, for those of you who don't know, I've been on YouTube. With my channel has been on YouTube ever since that of 2006. So we are getting pretty close to 20 years since I've been on YouTube. Uh, because I was like I said, I was on YouTube. I made my YouTube channel in 2006, but my very first video was released in 2010. It's crazy when I think about that. The fact that I've been on YouTube for almost 15 years. But it wasn't until about I'd say about a year or two ago, I started wanting to focus mainly on my channel. Uh, I don't know what told me to do that. Like, oh, be quiet in there. Hey, hold on a second. Guys, hey. Alright, sorry about that. Um, where was I? Oh yes. So like I said just now before I had to go out there and Church Madame this year was going a little bit crazy over there. Um, for those of you who don't know, I've been around. My channel was first created on YouTube in 2006. But my very first video, which happened to be a Happy New Year's video, was made in 2020, in 2010. And so ever since then, I've had a bit of a wild ride from the begin. Like even from the beginning, I've had a bit of a wild ride. I cannot talk apparently. And I just had a lot of fun, especially over the last year or two. What with all the what with all the people I've interacted with over the last few years, the people that I've collabed with over the years, as well as just people in general that I've met, that have even stopped by. Excuse me, even the people that have just stopped by just to say hello or just to lurk. I think I've had a very fun time on YouTube. And I've enjoyed playing the games that I have played, even though a number of streams that used to be on my channel have since been taken down for reasons that involve wanting to start a little bit fresh on those games. Um, just because I just don't like the fact that I was, because they were at a time when I was a more smaller channel, like so much more smaller, to the point to where literally I feel like the only reason why I got to this big a number was literally just because of the fact that I decided out of nowhere, like literally just out of the blue, I just thought of uploading like doing a live stream where I showed my entire Pokemon card collection. That video is to this day one of my most viewed videos ever. The only one that I think topped it was some fucking random video that I did in 2012 showing a halftime report to an NFL showing a halftime report on an NFL show. Like, I don't even know why I did that. I really didn't. I still, and on top of that, I am very surprised that a how you doing today? Bite size glitches. I'm saying that just because you have glitches in caps lock, so I thought I'd say it like that. But anyway, but anyway, um, yeah, I'm not sure why I posted that video of all things. Like, it's like I just randomly did it, and on top of that, I'm honestly surprised the NFL did not claim that video at all. They, to my knowledge, they never did. I guess it's because of how low quality that video was, because it really was very bad quality with the webcam that I was using at the time. Um, I guess that's why they didn't take it down, because it's like, well, it's such a bad quality. Why do we need to waste our time on it? But then I was like, but then when I was going through the video, like all my videos, there were a few that I did take down, but it was mainly just, um, it was mainly just live streams that I was cleaning up because I wanted to redo them all over again, but this time with a more bigger audience, and see which games would work for me and which games would not work for me. Um, so that's the reason why I've been doing literally the most random live streams ever with like all these games that are episode 1, and they were just to see how the how the people how many people how successful they would be. To me personally, the ones that are getting even double digits are, in my book, more successful than the ones that are still at single digits. So that's why I was doing those, just to test the waters a little bit, just to see how people would view those streams that I've been doing with all these random enter random game here episode 1. And even on top of that, sad part is some of them I'm not able to play anymore because they got taken off the PlayStation Plus premium list of games that you can play for free. So I have to actually buy them. I have to buy a number of them in order for me to play them still. So a number of the games will be put on hold until I finally get the games purchased, because a number of the games that I played because of the PlayStation Plus Premium, I have really enjoyed uh, playing, and I would love to continue playing them, but I just have to buy them by hand. And by hand, I mean by gift card, because I can't buy them off the PlayStation Store with my own card for some reason. I don't even know why, but I can't. But now I know some people are thinking like, "Uh-oh, what's this? Let's talk about." Because I know that when people say "let's talk," it's generally bad news. But I will tell you guys right now, this is far from bad news. Okay, this is far from bad news in some way, in any way of the word, really. But if that is the case, what exactly am I announcing here today? What could it be? Well, I did want to take a little trip down memory lane with my channel because, man, I've made so many great memories, a few of which I've made clips of, and I'm thinking about, for one thing, I'm thinking about going through my streams just to find good clips of moments that have happened over the recent times of me focusing more on my channel. Um, so that's for one thing. A whole other story would probably be the fact that um, I'm actually thinking about venturing off into a little bit of something else involving my YouTube channel because I've seen people make this suggestion uh, in a few of my past streams, specifically when I'm talking, the serious talk. I've heard people bring this up, even though it was probably the same person that kept telling me this. um, but I'm not 100% certain if I will do this, but because of how so many people because of how many times I've heard of how this might be a, this might be a good idea for me to do, I am thinking about doing a bit of a podcast. The only problem is I can't just do it right here. I'd have to do it I'd have to show off, a professional background. Like literally a background that makes me look so damn professional without, you know what I mean? But then I also have to think about, well, what would I be able to talk about on those podcasts, as well as potential special guests on the podcast in question. The last time I ever did something like this, what about gaming just a thought? I've been doing I've been doing gameplay. I've been doing video gaming streams since, if I had to guess, it was probably ever since I was doing gameplay videos of WWE 2K15 and just doing random matches at the time, and then going on to doing actual live streams because I didn't know on the PlayStation 4 up until I started doing those live streams that I was able to do a live stream. So I just like, you know what, I'll just do gameplay videos, and then when I noticed I was able to do live streams, that's when I started doing them. Um, but more recently, I've been getting a bit more traction with some people. Like, yeah, I've had a good number of good streams where it's gotten some a high viewer count on them. But generally, it's like a hit or miss. Sometimes it's a good video, other times it's a not so good one. Even if I do my best on them. But I know that for the most part, it's not because of how I'm doing the games or what I'm saying or how I'm doing them, right? It's also in part because of YouTube's algorithm. Because I know how YouTube can be with their, because I know how YouTube can be at times. Like, one game could be popular at one point, and then like not even weeks later, it'll be like the last thing, and everybody's gonna be focusing on this whole different thing altogether. Yeah, I've seen it. I know what that's like. That's why I've been playing the crap out of Pokemon Stadium, because I know that might net me some people, because YouTube algorithm is basically saying, while people are playing Pokemon Stadium, well, Pokemon Stadium is one of the games that people are looking to see other people play because it just came out on the Nintendo Switch. The more popular or more hyped a game is, the more likely and if one plays it, the more likely people are going to come to your channel because YouTube's algorithm is saying, okay, well, this is the popular game right now, so let's put this guy's content on this other person's For You page. and see if they like the content, and if not, then probably not put them on the For You page after not seeing this client's content for so long. But I've been thinking about doing a podcast where I just talk about things in general, from not really politics, because I know that that's kind of gray area, but more like casual things, like gaming, because I do like to read about video games, and I like to talk about games. Maybe some movies that catch my attention, and maybe in, talk about some movies that I've seen or that catch my attention. Maybe wrestling stuff for the wrestling fans out there, because I'm still a wrestling fan, even though I'm not as much of one as I used to be when I first started watching wrestling in 2007, October of 2007, I might add. As well as possibly, did you like the Mario movie? I actually did, but if you want to know my actual thoughts on it, I did make a video a live stream talking about my thoughts on the movie, even though it was a non-spoiler review, because I knew at the time that there were some people that may have wanted to see, wanted to hear what others had to say, but they also didn't want to watch videos that that might share some spoilers of the movie. So that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to make sure I did not spoil anything, and if anything, probably hinted at something in the movie without actually spoiling it in the video that I did for it. But long story short, I did thoroughly enjoy that movie. I had a blast. Truthfully, the audience was amazing. I enjoyed every second of watching the movie with the audience that I was watching it with. Mainly because, to name a few instances, because I never did bring this up when I did the review, I don't think. For one, excuse me. For one, there were some moments in the movie where the people in the audience, myself included, were laughing at the moments, and I do mean the adults were laughing with the kids that went to see it with the adults too. A good number of people were laughing at some parts of the movie, and at other times all of us were, because it was so funny. Then there was a time when a character was asking questions to another character, one of the kids in the theater actually answered the questions, and the adult that was accompanying the child was like, "They're not asking you; they're asking the guy in the movie." And then at the very end of it, everybody enjoyed it so much that everybody in the theater started clapping it. They started just clapping at the movie at the end of it. And then when the music started playing, you don't need to guess which music started playing if you are a fan of Mario. You shouldn't need to know this. But but just in case, they started playing the main Mario theme. I don't know if it was the original Mario theme or if it was like an orchestrated version. Or maybe a mix of both, where they did the orchestrated Mario theme along with the original Mario theme, just to make it interesting, I guess. I don't know the word that would fit that. But everybody in the theater, I won't talk about that here in a moment, but everybody in the theater started doing this, like this, like. Literally, everybody in the theater was doing that. And I do mean everybody in the theater was doing that. Also, Peaches better be... Okay, you know what? I'm going to say this. Mario movie better be nominated Best Animated Movie of the Year. I don't care if it wins it or not. And Peaches by Jack Black better be one be nominated for award for Best Original Song. Because my dude, Jack Black as Bowser, I was like, I originally was like, okay, alright, this is interesting. I didn't think Bowser had a good singer voice, but I did know that Jack Black, I did hear Jack Black sing one time before this movie, and that was when he was on American Idol, and he basically did his own cover of the song Kiss from a Rose by Seal. That was the only other time I ever heard him sing. And then he did this one, and honestly, that singing voice of his was so good. So yeah, I am expecting the movie to be given the nomination for Best Movie of the Year, although I would not be surprised if a Disney Pixar movie won the award, just because it's Disney and Pixar. And Peaches by Jack Black as Bowser better be nominated Best Original Song, because dude, that song is everywhere on YouTube. Literally everywhere. So much so that I'm just to the point to where I'm like, dude, this song better be nominated for Best Original Song, or I'm gonna riot. Because it's such a good song. I even have that song as well as most, if not all, of the songs from the movie soundtrack on my favorite songs playlist, because I loved every single piece of music that was played in the movie. Even the throwback to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show with the Mario Brothers rap, that was perfect. That was excellent. What's ironic is that so many people predicted that the plumbing trailer, the Mario Brothers plumbing advertisement trailer that they played before the movie came out, so many people predicted that, like, I bet they were just joking, but so many people were saying, this is going to be how they're going to introduce the Mario Brothers. They were doing it as a joke, but lo and behold, they actually did do it that way. That was the best. That was so funny to me, honestly. But yeah, we're kind of getting a bit off topic here with what I was trying to say. But yeah, I know that I'm gonna need to plan a bit more ahead with doing what I'm thinking of doing, which is a podcast, and I know I'm gonna have to read up on how to do one, and possibly think of trying to bring guests in onto the podcast just to have a nice friendly chat with them, and if I'm not able to start up a conversation, they might have something to start a conversation up with again. Just things in general. That's really what I want to do. Just have a nice relaxing time talking with people. Just having a nice time talking with people, both on a thing, whether it be on here or something like that. You see the video where people made a remix of Peaches and had Peaches? What? Peach. It had Peach sign. Also, they called it Bowser's Sing. I've seen a few remixed versions of Bowser singing that song, honestly. But, the one thing and I've said this before, if you want my personal opinion, I found it hilarious that people were thinking that Jack Black was, when he was singing that song Peaches, I think it was the second time he sang it, he started sounding more like a rocker when he was singing it. And so many people were like, is he saying Peaches? And so many people were saying that in the comments of those videos, like, is he saying Peaches? And I'm like, you know what? That should be a nice little reference to all these people saying that. Just like, if they make a sequel like they make a sequel, and at one point they make a scene where Bowser just has Peach listen to him singing. And so he sings the song, and at first, she's a little bit moved. She still hates the guy, but she's a little bit moved by what he's singing, right? But then when he starts doing that rocker part of the song, then she looks angry because, like everybody, she's thinking he's saying something else. That'd be great adult humor that would fly by the kids' heads so quick. Oh, I would just love to see that in the sequel. I would just love to see that. Nintendo, take notes. Or Nintendo, Illumination, whoever, if anybody of you guys are watching this, jot this down in case the sequel is being made. Because if I think a sequel is being made, I would have no doubt that the Koopalings would be introduced in this one. Whether it be just Bowser Jr. or Jr. and the Koopalings as a whole, I could see them being introduced in the sequel. And so they'd be a bit difficult for the Mario Brothers to handle because there's all of them and just like four of them. So the numbers game kind of being a thing, and so they so the Koopalings would rescue Bowser, and somehow have Kamek / a Magic Koopa turn back to regular size, and then they plot their revenge against Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad because of what happened in the last movie. Yeah, I'm giving them an idea for a sequel. They better be. I hope somebody from them is coming over here and taking notes. Because I just gave them an idea of how to do a sequel. Oh, that's funny. But, yeah, so, personally, I'm still in the thinking process of doing it. So I'm going to probably do a bit of a poll. Do you guys think I should do a podcast? But I feel like I might do it. I feel like it might be a good idea for me to do that because, I've always wanted to. I've seen a few people do it, and I've seen a few people, do guest appearances on other podcasts. And I've seen a few podcasts. Like, I know that Grande Gamer has done it. I know that Gothrock Fairy has done one. Is doing a podcast. I know if we're going to talk about popular YouTubers, I know that Dead Meat, who is a well-known horror movie YouTube channel, I know that they're doing it. They've been doing a podcast for some time now. I would honestly not mind doing a podcast for myself, but I feel like I would need to change things around in my room to make everything look more presentable, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, I've been thinking about doing that, and I feel like this would be a good chapter, a good start to another chapter on my YouTube channel, trying to have fun with a podcast that might happen every 2 weeks, I would say, maybe, because I know that so much time and effort go into it. Unfortunately, even if I put in the effort into it, I probably wouldn't have as much time as I would want to have put into it. But I could see it more like where I could basically just look things up on this other phone that I have here, just because I can, and because it doesn't hurt to have a secondary phone just in case something pops up on the news or something. It could be anything, and I just go onto the news app and just see something that just catches my eye. Honestly. So like, if I seen something newsworthy that I think people should know, I could probably talk about it on the podcast, but also, give my own thoughts on things. Like, if people were to ask me, well, what's your thoughts on this situation or that situation? I would either look it up because I don't know, um, excuse me, because I don't know, uh, I'm not going to know every little thing, but it wouldn't hurt to look up and see, what they're talking about and read an article or two about it just because, don't want to be biased, you know what I mean? So, yeah, at the end of the day, I just want to do a podcast that would be good enough to bring people um, together, and try to get people, to not only respect each other, but to respect others' opinions as well. Because I know that not everybody is going to share the exact same thoughts and opinions that I have. But if people are going to force their opinions or thoughts on other people, then I would not welcome that kind of thing ever on any of my podcast streams. If I do one, if I do any. Um, but yeah, so, but then comes the name. What would I name it? Because of how late I tend to make my streams, I might possibly do like, as a working title currently, if I make a podcast, I would probably name it the Freaks of the Night Podcast, unless somebody else has that as their name, just because of the fact that I do streams more often than not at night. Um, so yeah, but I would say my tagline would be a stream that happens in the middle of the night, but you could always watch it in the middle of the day, or something like that. Like, give it a little bit of a nice catchphrase, like a bit of a catchphrase to it, as a tagline. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's just my thoughts on the matter. I would like to hear what everybody else what other people think about this. See if it might be a good idea. And it might help my channel grow too, because, I've shown that, I may not be a kid-friendly channel, and I may cuss and say things that are not kid-friendly at times, but at the end of the day, I do want to make sure that the people that are watching my channel, they have a good time, and because I know it could happen on even at streams, I want them to feel safe as well. Because I know I've seen things happen where people are very rude or very disrespectful toward another person, whether it be one of the other viewers, or a lot worse, the streamer him or herself. And trust me, I have seen it happen before, and I'm not gonna let it happen again on my watch. Nor will my mods won't let it happen on their watch as well as on mine. If I see it, I will call that person out on the bullshit. And if YouTube has a problem with me cussing, I'm sorry to say, but that's just who I am as a person. I'll try not to cuss all the time. Like every 15, like at least every 10, 15, 20 minutes. But I can't make any guarantees. But I will try not to go crazy with the cuss words for the people that, are there that are kid friendly, But do not be surprised if I ever cuss like a sailor, because my channel will tell you I'm known for that. But yeah, so that's the whole announcement here. I'm thinking about doing a bit of a podcast because it's been suggested to me a few times over my Serious Talk streams. But I might do something there where I might do a Serious Talk podcast somewhere down the line, but for now, just make them as part of their own separate series of streams for the time being. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I would like to hear what everybody else has to say about this idea. But yeah, so that's all I have to say. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, the good rest of your day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on when you are watching this depending on what time you are currently watching this. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Forrest Walpole.